He's embarrassed. He was a beat fighter.
So once again, thank you for joining us. This is our first interview, and we're proud to be able to bring you one of the rising prospects in the game.
Fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, Steve So-Called Nelson.
Hey, how's it going, champion? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me. I was really taken aback by your purpose, your drive to do what you do, but it seems like you had a higher purpose to what you were doing, and I think it would be great to kind of start with that. I mean, where does that come from?
Well, growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, I've always it's always been a community where not a lot of people know about us.
Right.
We're a big city, but it seems like we have to work double than anybody else. Like my counterparts, people who are just like me from Texas or California or Florida or New York or something like that, they have more opportunities and more people that are looking for talent there. So being from Omaha, Nebraska, nobody's coming to Omaha looking for any talent,
Right.
So it seems like we have to work harder to prove ourselves. And growing up, I never really knew like how talented I was until I actually left and went to the Army.
Right.
Went to the Army at 18, and
18.
So being with my peers in the Army, I realized that I was always one foot ahead of them in everything we would do.
Right.
And even things that I didn't grow up and I was labeled as a good person in, I was one of the best in the military, But I was never known for being a really good runner here in Omaha. But I go to military and I'm in the front and running with everybody else, compete with everybody. I'm like, man, I think it's something that I've grown into as a person because of how I am. Because even here in Omaha, I'm praised for the things I do, and by man, you're a different breed. You're different, man. Really different. But I also feel like if I was somewhere else, I would be so much farther ahead because I like I said, I have people that's all over the world that I know, and it seems like they are above and beyond right now because of their reach and their opportunities they have and the people they know compared to me in Omaha, Nebraska. I have extreme abilities in a lot of areas.
Right.
And people who know me, that's why they call me So Cold, because
slang term.
Yeah. So
where does that come from? I've actually never heard that expression before. When I first heard it, I heard So Cold. I thought it was something to do with a knockout. you knock people out cold or something like that.
So cold in slang is like somebody say, "Oh man, he's cold." That means he's really good. He's really good. They be like, "Man, like you cold. You cold at what you do."
Got you.
So it's like a slang term for being really good at whatever. So I actually didn't make the name for myself. I was actually given the name by
where did you get it from?
I was in the military, and I was on the Army boxing team. And I remember we all had the same type of equipment because they give us all the equipment we need, and we all had the same gloves and the same uniform and stuff. So we labeled all of our gear. On my gear, I put my initials, which is STN, Stephen Cole Nelson.
Right.
So I put my initial SCN, and somebody picked them up and was like, "Who is SCN?" I was like, me, and it was like SCN. What's your name? What did it stand for? And somebody in the background on my team, his name was Charles Williams. He was like, it probably stands for So Cold because he good at everything he do. And I was like, I like that. I like that.
It stuck with you, and you kind of ran with it.
Everybody started calling me So Cold Nelson, So Cold Nelson, because they see my initials, SCN, So Cold Nelson.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and ever since then, that's why I just hold on to, like, so cold. I'm so cold at everything.
Right.
So I've been trained to operate out for 4 or 5 hours because in the military, you know, they be on us and we got so much stuff we doing, like sleep. You work on minimal sleep. So
Right.
after I was in the military for so many years, 8 years.
8 years in the military.
Yeah, that's how it is now. I only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep and I'm good.
So you're kind of like still active in a sense. Like if something were to happen, like in the country, they would kind of call you back, right? Is that correct?
So when you sign for the military, everybody signed for 8 years, really. But you really sign for active. Like say, I signed for 4 years. You're 4 years active, but the other 4 is for reserve, where if something happened where the country needs soldiers, they're going to call back the guys they already trained up instead of doing like a
retraining the next batch. Yeah,
instead of getting new people that they got to retrain. This guy's already trained, let's pull him back in.
Right.
You know, that's 8 years. So I did my 8 years. So I'm completely released. I'm just like the next person right now. If anything happened to be a draft, then I'd just be cross my fingers.
So let's go back to the military, right? I mean, what else did you take from that 8 years of commitment to your country? That's I think that's amazing. What you've done, and I've got profound respect for servicemen of whatever country, because to kind of commit yourself to that, knowing the consequences and going through the conditioning and coming out of it in the way you have, I think is unbelievable, because obviously we've heard the stories of servicemen not so sort of in a position as you are, let's just say, where they kind of maybe find it the adjustment from military life to civilian life very different.
So pulling from the military, the biggest thing I can say that I got from the military was resilience. You know, no matter what, get the job done, get your goal accomplished. Like your life lies on it.
Right.
That's what I learned from the military. If you don't get it done, you'll die. Cause that's how it is in the military.
Wow. Yeah.
Like no matter what, you can get your leg blown off, but if you want to make it home and still live, make it happen. It's possible. Like you can make it happen, and that's just one thing that I've always had from military. Like it's always a way. It's always a way. If you dig deep down inside, there's always a way.
Would you say that kind of goes back to your training, like when you were training, kind of for these circumstances, like the kind of mindset, to an extent, kind of similar with boxing? If you've got to be very honest with your training in it to develop that willpower to dig out those trenches, literally, to survive, right?
Yeah. So that's just the mind frame that we had. But even before that, I had that going to the military, but it wasn't as developed and disciplined before going to the military. Like I said, from where I'm from, like, so what I didn't mention is growing up, you know, been passed around from different families and stuff like that, I started to fend for myself. I started to realize like I don't have nobody but me, really. Like being young, and I had to get on my own. So when I became a teenager, I found like support and love in the streets.
Right.
Started hanging out with the wrong crowds, and running the streets, and things that started spiraling downhill, which is what prompted me going to the military.
Right.
I knew that I was talented and smart, but I was in the wrong places, the wrong people.
So was that a conscious decision from you to kind of leave that life and go into the military, or were you kind of...
Exactly what it was. It got to a point, let's put it like this, it got to a point where I was in so much stuff that my own family didn't want to be around me.
Right.
And I started feeling like death on my shoulder. I just started feeling it creeping up on me. And I was like, man, I started seeing friends die and friends getting locked up and just into more and more stuff. And it was getting worse. So I'm like, man, if it's like this already, imagine a year or two from now, it's going to really be bad.
100%.
So like, I need to get out of here. I need to get away from here, but I need to get somewhere because I knew my discipline level wasn't high, because I never had like any strong discipline, like people like making me do stuff growing up.
Right.
So I was like, I know that if I go out of town or go out to college somewhere, I'm still be in the same lifestyle. I need to go somewhere that's going to make me stay away. What can I do? And one day it popped in my head. I was working out with my uncle, actually, my uncle Tony. And he said, man, y'all ain't doing nothing around here, man. It's wasting your life away. You need to go do something, join the military or something. And I swear it was like a cartoon. A light bulb was like, ding. Oh, shoot.
That's what I need to military.
I didn't think of that. I've been thinking here for weeks. I never thought of that. I was like, I'm about to go. Later that day, I went to the recruiter, and I was gone a week and a half later after that.
I mean, did you kind of choose? I mean, you went into the army, right? And obviously you could have gone into the Marines. You could have gone into...
Yeah, I chose the army. I was young, but I'm gonna tell you my thought process as a young kid. I was like, Air Force, that's for all the pretty girls and the soft dudes. I was like, Marines, that's for the hardcore people that are stupid, the hardcore stupid people. And I was like,
you gotta be careful. That's your other teammate there, huh? He was a Marine, right?
But this is my thought process before going to the military. I mean, if I can go back, I would have went to the Air Force, because I had a real high test score and they had really good jobs that fit me. And I knew that my uncle and both my uncles were in the Army, so I was like, Army. I'm gonna go to the Army. So I went to go to the recruiter office, and my recruiter, he seen how I was dressed, and I came in with my slang and sagging and stuff. He thought I was another knucklehead. So he was like, all right, come on, take a test. So I took the test, and I scored like a rare score. Like 86 is like a high score.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, it's probably average. Average score is like in the 40s or 50s.
Oh, wow. So you kind of doubled it. Wow.
So he was like, he called me, he was like, hey man, where you at? He come and hounded me down, like, man, come on, man, you should join. Because at first he really didn't care. Come on, man, you should join, do this stuff, because they get incentives for like people they get and stuff. Right. And he was like, man, you can get whatever job you want with this score, whatever job you want. And then he said, what you like, what you want to do, what you want to be. And I was like, man, I always wanted to build robots and stuff. He's like, well, there's no job in the military to build robots, but the closest thing I can get you is satellite communications.
Right.
He said that's one of the highest jobs you can get. And this job, like, this right here will show you my dedication to boxing. This job, getting out the military, I could get a job making $200,000, $300,000 a year.
Wow.
doing this, like working for these companies.
Some boxers don't see that for a good couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I could have been on that, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a slave to working 9 to 5s.
Right. That's a massive commitment, because
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of boxers don't even see that kind of money, really.
Yeah, I had a different view of what I wanted and what was my whole plan. And I know that boxing's a young man's sport. So at the end of the day, I could end boxing and my skills and my training will never go anywhere. I will always have that. So if I quit boxing today, I know that I can go back and do these things.
Right.
So I'm gonna take a chance and chase this dream, and then later on, if this don't go the way that I want it to go, I know that I got other things I can fall back on.
So your boxing career, like the amateur career, was that all with the Army, or was it kind of half in Colorado?
It was the Army, but the Army boxing team, they take us to regular tournaments. It's like any tournament that a civilian can go to.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Like,
yeah.
Now, only thing difference is like the Army is my sponsor basically. The Army was like sponsoring us. We had gear. We never had to worry about traveling or hotels and stuff when we go to these tournaments. All we had to worry about it, and then every day my job, I was getting paid to get up every day to go train and go to tournaments. But that was on the Army. It's called WCAP, World Class Athlete Program, where if you place top 6 in the nation in the tournament, then you can be on this team, and your job is focusing on making an Olympic team. My second year of boxing, this is how I made a team. Within my second year of boxing, I had 6 fights, and I went to it was like the Olympic trials. It was Olympic reloads, it's called. I went to Olympic trials and only had 6 fights. Never went to a national tournament. Didn't know nobody. Didn't know nothing. I didn't even know that you can make the Olympics from this tournament.
Wow.
I went there just like, hey, I'm gonna go here and fight. The Army took me there, and I beat 3 prior national champions and made it all the way to the finals.
Wow.
And I lost in the finals to the 2012 Olympian Marcus Brown.
Brown, yeah.
Yeah, but anybody who watched that fight, I mean, they will argue that I was a winner.
Right.
It was a foul-filled, biased fight.
You get a lot of those in the amateurs and sometimes even in the pros. I mean,
yeah.
There's been some fights I've seen. I mean, just as a spectator and kind of looked at it and thought, what really, like,
Yeah, that's what that fight was with me and him. It was like whatever, but I was a new kid on the block, so I was happy. Like imagine having only 6 fights. Only been boxing for a year and a half.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Been fighting for a year and a half to go here and go that far. I was like a kid in camp. I was like, hey, I got silver, whatever. I got silver, and I got a ticket to go to London. I went to London as a training partner.
Oh wow! When was this? What year was this?
2012.
Wait,
This team was we had Errol Spence was on there. Jamel Herring. That's where I met Jamel Herring.
Oh, that's where you met him.
Yep. Jose Ramirez, 140 pound.
Okay.
Was on there. Who else that you would know? Rasheed Warren. You know who that is?
No.
He's a 3-time Olympian from America. He's only 3-time Olympian from America.
Oh wow.
3 times. Yeah. That's the main name. So that's the main name that you would know. Oh, Caleb Plant.
All right, another super middleweight who fought yesterday.
Yeah, he was a training partner with me. Like, we cool. We good friends. We good. He was a training partner with me. He fought 165 in the amateurs. I fought 178.
Right.
Oh, he was a training partner for Terrell Gaucher. You know that name?
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah.
Terrell Gaucher and for Errol Spence. He was sparring partners for those two.
Right.
Go back and forth. And I was spar Marcus Brown and the heavyweight Michael Hunter.
Michael Hunter, yeah.
Yep, I would spar those two.